Hello and welcome. We are going to talk about LED bulbs tonight because again, as things happen for this show and where most of my content comes from is from questions that I have been getting. And there has been some confusion for folks with the LED bulbs that they have been buying. So I'm going to try to help you understand what's happening and hopefully maybe make it a little easier for you to make decisions about which it is that you're going to purchase. So what are we talking about? This basically, right? So there's different shapes and sizes. Like this one's actually flat and this one's round, right? But we're talking about the newer bulbs that we're putting in to replace the incandescents, the halogens, all that kind of stuff. The first thing, because I know somebody will say it in the comments, so let's just get it out of the way. Um, the issues is that I hear from people that their lights are burning out, that they're broken, they're just not working, that type of thing. So, because I know somebody's going to say this, yes, technically, okay, from a highly technical standpoint, they don't really burn out the way incandescents did, because incandescents actually had a fiber that ran between the two pieces of wire that you would see in it if it was a clear bulb, and that would physically burn out, right? So sooner or later, that would actually just give way and break. What's happening with the LED bulbs is a little bit different in that because they are LEDs, they don't technically burn out that way. But what's happening is they just fail over time. So they do, as they age, the LEDs do get less and less bright to the point where they will just, stop functioning at some point. Now, that's supposed to be somewhere around the 50,000, how much is 50,000 mile, 50,000 hour mark. And the people that I'm hearing from are running into these kind of problems way before that. So we're going to talk about why that happens earlier in some of the bulbs that you might be buying. Oh, Gamers Paradise. Hello, hello. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm a little late. I do apologize. As you can see, we're still not back. A topic close to your heart. I used to deliver a ton of LED. I did not know that you delivered LED bulbs. That's so interesting. I'm sure you've got stories to tell, and feel free to share them. I love stories. All right, so let's talk about the reasons why these things might be happening to you or people around you. And the first one is that, well, really the core of a lot of the problems is not buying the right bulb. So buying LED bulbs is frankly way more complicated than buying the old style bulbs were, right? You'd go in, you'd pick whatever wattage you want, it was the right size, and that was it. There's a lot of more variables to deal with when you're looking at the LED bulbs, and you really do need to understand what it is you're buying and read the package carefully, because it's not really so much about, obviously these look very different, but these go into the same kind of fixture, right? So this one always cracks people up, right? Because it has the shape, right? Because they're trying to market to our need for consistency, right? And we're used to seeing light bulbs in this shape, but this one doesn't take as much room up as this one. This does not have to be this shape, but because that's what we're used to buying, that's what it looks like. And, it's going to have this, so that you can screw it into the traditional light fixture. Now, you can't tell by looking at any bulb on its own, right, without the packaging, whether or not it's going to be just white or if it's going to be colored, like if it offers color options. You're going to have to look at the package for that in order to understand what it is that you're going to be getting from that. But the bigger issue is just making sure that it is the right type of bulb for the light fixture you're going to use. So, for example, if you are using one of these light bulbs outdoors and it is only rated for indoor use, that bulb is going to die a lot faster in an outdoor setting than it would in an indoor setting. It's not something people are used to having to think about, but it is a major factor in the fail points for a lot of people. You're also, and this is a really big one, enclosed fixtures. So what I'm talking about is any fixture that you have to take an entire piece of usually glass off of it in order to get to it. Of course, I don't have anything handy here to show you, but basically it's one where you can't just stick your hand in and remove the old and take the old to new, right? You have to remove something. For lack of a better term, think about the boob lights, right? That a lot of people have on their ceilings, that you have to unscrew the cover, take the cover off before you can get to the light bulbs. That's the kind of thing we're talking about. If you put a regular LED bulb into an enclosed fixture, it is going to die. Now, that's because of heat. People are like, but the LEDs don't give off heat. but they do. They don't give off as much heat as the incandescents, right? You're not going like my sister when she was little. Somebody had put like too powerful of a light bulb into a fixture, and she knocked it over. It hit her arm and it burned her, right? Because it was pulling too much power for the light fixture, but also it was too hot of a bulb. Now, LED bulbs are always going to be more or less cool to the touch, but they're still electronics. There's an electronic board in there. There's still circuitry. And so there is an amount of heat being generated. Also, just the heat in the environment can impact it. And if you are putting a bulb that is not specifically designed for an enclosed fixture into an enclosed fixture, all of that heat stays there and is going to wear out your bulb much faster. So that is a big thing. To be honest, probably 70 to 80% of the time that I'm helping somebody out with it, that's the issue, because they've just gone and they bought a bulb, walked in, grabbed it and walked out, or ordered it online and didn't look to see that it was specifically marked for enclosed fixtures. So it's one of those, it's like the outdoor bulbs, right? You can use an outdoor bulb inside and be okay. You can't use an indoor bulb outdoors and be okay. You can use a bulb designed for enclosed lighting fixtures in an open fixture and be fine. You can't use a bulb from an open lighting fixture in an enclosed one and be as successful. So that is a regular issue. The third one that comes up most often is the dimmer issue. So if you are using a dimmer switch and you're not using an LED bulb that is specifically designed to be dimmed, then you're absolutely going to have a problem with it. That bulb is going to die way sooner because it's not built for dimming. And so every time you try to dim that bulb, you're trying to get it to do something it was not designed to do, and it's going to wear it out much faster. That is a super big issue. For those of you who are joining late, hello, welcome. My name is Kathleen. I'm here as your tech coach. My day gig is technology. My hobby is technology. So everybody in my world tends to come to me when they have questions or problems, and I know not everybody has somebody like that, so that's why we do this show every week. And you are welcome to jump into the chat or into the comments at any time and ask questions, share your experiences, and if you have any ideas for a show, or if you have questions you want me to answer, you can go ahead. My URL will come here in a minute. There it is, perfect time. YourTechCoach.com. There's a form there. You can go ahead and reach out. So we're talking about LEDs and the kind of problems that you can run into with LED bulbs. So these kinds of things. Okay. All right. So to continue now, so the ones I just covered are the ones that happen most common. Like if somebody's having an issue, 9 times out of 10, that's what it is. Using, having the wrong bulb for an outdoor fixture, having a bulb that's not rated for enclosed fixtures in an enclosed fixtures, or using a dimmer on a bulb that is not set up and designed to be used for a dimmer. But that's not the only things that can go wrong. Those are the most common. Those are the ones you're going to run into most commonly. But there are other issues, and one of those could be your household voltage. So there could be a problem with the power that's going to the light fixture and thereby powering the light bulb. So it could be that you're getting like flickering on and off kind of thing. Very often that can be a sign that your household power running through the outlets is not consistent enough. Now there's a certain variance of power that's going through the lines, but if that is too far outside of the norm, it can actually cause flicker in the bulbs that you're dealing with. And so that's not something most of us are going to want to deal with ourselves. You're going to want to bring an electrician in and have them check things out for you. Because it's really a sign of a bigger issue. It's not really the bulb. The bulb is letting you know that there's a problem with the power in your house. Hey, Marcus, how you doing? Gamer Paradise. The big thing I would hear about was the bulb wasn't bright enough. Oh, that's perfect. Thank you. We're going to get into that. Early LEDs had to warm up. That's true. That's true. But it's still a problem, and I'll cover that one in a second. Okay, Murphy, I don't know what you want from me. So let me keep going. Okay, so the next thing that can be a problem is a very cheap bulb. Now, there's a ton of different bulbs out there, and I'm not saying that you have to buy the most expensive bulb out there, but there is a subset of the cheaper market that are cheaper for not good reasons. Specifically, most of the time, the problem ends up being around the circuit board and or how the circuit board has been wired and soldered and all that kind of things. So a lot of those will fail earlier just because they were not well designed. And so the board inside of the bulb will fail much earlier. So again, I'm not saying you have to spend top dollar for the bulbs. That's absolutely not the case. But you do want to buy from a company that is at least putting out, for whatever price they're making them for, properly built bulbs. And that's where reviews are really handy, because if the problem is shoddy workmanship, the reviews will let you know very quickly. Okay, so let's get to what Gamer Paradise brought up for us, because that was like totally awesome. And I did not pay him to say these things, but this is another problem, and that really is expectations. So it could be that you bought this bulb and it's not working, but that could be because, again, it was a purchasing problem, not really the bulb, and because of the brightness and or the color. Now, when I say color, I'm not necessarily talking about the ones that are, where you can go in with your app and change the multicolors. If anybody's been around for a while, you've seen me do that in the studio. Hang on a second. Murphy, leave that alone. Hang on. The cone is off, so we have issues. Anyway, so, and part of the problem is because people are used to buying bulbs based on wattage, which was okay for incandescent, but it doesn't really apply when you're buying an LED bulb. So sometimes what's happening is they're buying one that's too bright or not bright enough, and that's because of the lumens, because that's really what you want to buy your bulb off of. You're not really looking for wattage anymore, because it's not an equivalent scale so much for the LEDs. So you want to make sure that you're buying the right level of lumens. The other part of this is really a two-parter, is the color. So yes, it does not, I'm not talking about, the crazy colors being able to make your light blue or red or whatever. I'm just talking about on the light scale, like your normal light scale. And this was true even with the incandescents. It really goes from sort of a warm to a cool. And there's all kinds of stopping points along the way. And what that means in normal terms for us is yellow to bright white. So, like, one of the challenges I've had in here in the living room, streaming from the office, is I didn't realize how yellow the light is in this room until I started streaming from here, because I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, these bulbs are all very, very yellow. So what that is, again, this is going to get a little geeky, but I'm just trying to give you the phrases to look for on the packaging. So when you're looking for brightness, right, that's the lumens, right? And that's going to be 450 for a less bright bulb to like 1600 for a brighter one. And there's a couple of stopping points in between. When it comes to the color of a standard white bulb, that's going to be degrees Kelvin, and that's going to run from like 2700, which is that yellow warm color, to 6500, which is that bluish, white, bright white kind of color. And again, there's different points in between, so you may have to try a couple of different ones in order to see. A lot of time the packages will have representations of what level that color, that the light will, display as, so sometimes that's very helpful for you. But it's those two pieces that will get you the right level of brightness and the right level of color, for lack of a better term, for that. Marcus says, my Philip Hues are sometimes humming, but I'm not sure if it's caused by the bulbs. So, right, sometimes it is. Sometimes it's a problem, again, with the circuit board and the way the light bulb itself is designed. You can tell Murphy's feeling better a little bit. But it also could be your actual fixture may not be handling the power draw for the bulb, so the bulb may be too powerful for the light fixture. And it could also be, again, that thing I talked about earlier with the feed for your electricity. While there's a normal, kind of fluctuation in it, it may be fluctuating too much. So there's a couple of different things that you can look at for that one. Alrighty. Oh, he's been really quiet today until now. But that's a good thing. I'm thrilled to hear him bark, because he hasn't been very barky this year. All right. Okay, so let's clear up one other point of ongoing confusion, and that is what you're buying, right? So, and again, this is very much the, khakis are pants, but not all pants are khakis problem. So LED bulbs can be white, right, inside that warm to cool spectrum, or they can give you the ability to change their colors. But really what that is also, that's what's classified as a smart bulb. So there are LEDs, which are just light bulbs, right? You're just going to put them in. They are whatever color they are. They may or may not work in an enclosed fixture or be dimmable, but it's just a light bulb. As opposed to a smart bulb, right? Which is an LED, but it comes with extra features. And those are the ones that you can use with your smart assistant. Those are the ones that you can program to go on or off at certain times of the day. That's usually tied to your smart assistant or to a hub. Or you can change the colors on them if you'd like. So smart bulbs are LEDs, but not all LEDs are smart bulbs. You're noticing a trend on this show, but that's the way it is. Yeah, well, he's better, but not. But that's a whole other discussion. We'll save that for another time. So I just want to make sure that you are, again, clear about what it is that you are buying, and you just need to tie that to your need and your intention, right? If you just need light, don't worry about paying extra for a smart bulb, because there's an extra level of complexity with that, right? You're going to have to find the right app. You're going to have to mess around with settings and all that kind of stuff. So if you just need a light that goes on when you turn up the switch and off when you turn the switch off, just get yourself an LED bulb. If you want that added functionality of being able to have your smart assistant do it, do timing, make changes to the colors, that kind of stuff, by all means do it. It's fun. I mean, actually, that's what this bulb is. Again, you can't tell by looking at it, because until it's plugged in and you've programmed it, it's just a bulb. But keep in mind that with a smart bulb, you need to have Wi-Fi and or Bluetooth working. You're going to probably want a smart assistant. I don't recommend people buy hubs. I know a lot of people do have them, but I just think it's one more piece of equipment, and we're paying enough as it is. But just remember that it does increase the price, and it's a little bit more complicated to set up instead of something where you just go and plug it in, screw it in. So that is what I have for you. Those are the reasons why you would be having a problem, and some of the points of confusion that I hope we've cleared up as far as which light to buy and what to look for when you're making that purchase. I'm sorry that it isn't as easy as just going in and grabbing a bulb like it used to be. But we do get more life out of them when you get the right bulb for the right fixture for the purposes it matches to the purposes that you're going to use it for. You will get extended life from it. I mean, I've got bulbs that have been running in this house now for years, without me ever having to change them, where I was constantly having to change bulbs around here. Also because it was before my brother-in-law came in and fixed some electricity problems for me too. This is an older house, and we had some issues when I moved in. But it is a great option. It's also now the only option, because you can still find incandescents around, but it's getting harder and harder to find those because they have been depreciated. I do prefer the very bright white lights, but you may prefer, the warmer colors. So whatever works for you, there's still all those options out there. Marcus says, life was easier back when we used candles for light. Yes, but there were a lot more fires too, right? So, everything's a trade-off. But there you go. That's everything that I have for you on this. I hope that it does make your purchases a little bit easier and more successful, so that you do get the benefit of that much longer lifespan from it. Okay. I mean, how ironic. Maybe I should do that sometime, right? I'm using all this electricity, and technology to stream, but I should do it by candlelight sometime. Maybe we'll do that. All right. And for those of you who stick through these to the very bitter end, let me give you a little extra bonus here. One sec. You're not gonna make this easy, are you? Okay. I was gonna try to shoot, but okay. No cone. Woohoo! No cone. And I don't know if you can see, but no bandage. You're not gonna come up. Hi. You can't even see his face. I did contact the groomer. Will you give me your paw? Will you give me the paw? No? Okay. All right. Well, I tried. I was trying to add a special for people who stick around, but of course, my assistant does not want to cooperate. But for those of you who have been following the saga, the bandage is off, the sutures are off, and he's out of the cone. But that's why I'm having to keep an eye on him, because he's been pretty good about not messing with the paw that they took the toe off. But still, we don't want him to get into the habit of chewing on it. So yeah, and hopefully we'll get him groomed soon. And then we'll deal with the other bad news as we get more information on it. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. As always, feel free to reach out. The URL will be here in a second. I'll just vamp until it shows up again. You go to yourtechcoach.com if you have any questions, comments, if you need help with something. if it's just a quick question, you can go ahead and fill out the form, and I'm happy to reply by email. If it's a little bit more in depth, we might need to go ahead and schedule a consult, which I'm perfectly happy to do too. We'll just jump on a Zoom call or something like that, and we can talk through whatever your questions or issues are. There it is, right there. But also, if you have an idea for a show, please do not hesitate. Go ahead and fill out the form and let me know. I'm more than happy to cover whatever topic you would like me to cover that's technology related, because frankly, that's where all the best ideas for the shows come from. All right, everybody, I hope you have a good one, and I hope you find the light bulbs that work for you, and we will talk again soon. Bye. Oh, I really hope next week to be in the studio.